All right, so we are back in round 2, game 2 between Off Topic Off Meds and Snakes and Trees. So OTOM was able to take game 1, but now we are about to head into game 2. So from the first match and from the drafting screen, the first game was played on Red Rock Desert, which OTOM won, and now the second game is going to be played on Delta Siege Dry. So I think this will be a relatively interesting game. I think that OTOM is probably much more comfortable on this map. So we might see a little bit of better play from them. This is a map that they chose, but hopefully Snakes and Trees can recover and actually perform well. And we are loading in the game. I hear everyone load in. So let's hop in and see what is going on. All right. So for the blue team, we have Off Topic Off Meds, Aiden playing the bottom, opening solar at 15 wind. Aiden, oh my word. We've got Victor with armed vehicles. We've got Chummers over here. Lenore with arm, and then Jimmy up top. And for Zombie, Snakes and Trees, we have a no vehicle, or sorry, a no energy 1 max core lab open. Interesting. All right, on my face is ARM, Dr. Goldfish with ARM bots, solely with the core vehicles on the front. I can respect that. A1 with the core vehicles on the front as well. Are those going to be lashers? Traditionally, we see a lot of lashers on this map. Even in, I think in 5s, it's a little bit less common, but I think we'll have to see how this plays out. Polly, any thoughts from you from the kind of like initial builds that you see?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if Zombie might try to do some rush strategy. I know some players tried to do a 1 max open and then pump out some ticks. He is Cortex, so maybe he'll do grunts or something. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of aggression comes out of top.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower, but we'll see. And it looks like we've got our first engagement here. Victor spots a Rascal. Rover versus Rascal. Place your bets.
And I'm going with Rover.
Oh my, wow. Rover absolutely dominated him. You are 100% correct. So Dr. Goldfish looks like he is heading and he'll want to contest hill, but Lenore got an early transport, and if he can get to the hill first and get set up, I think it's going to be really, really strong. Is anyone on Snakes and Trees actually air? Am I missing?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh, this could be an incredibly rough match if there's no air. I know that there are a few teams that haven't started air on like the vast majority of maps because they feel like they don't need the transports, or they feel like they can kind of mitigate the early Shuri play. I think especially on DSDR, because the hill is so important, it's incredibly, incredibly dangerous to just fully ignore hill and not to do it. So Lenore flies and drops the low ground lab, which is common in a lot of the higher OS lobbies, just because it gives you that much better pressure and you don't have to take this super long walk around route all the way to the top of the hill.
Air is such a versatile open on these small, especially small teams. You can get a transport out, and if Summers right now is scouting with his fighters, he's going to find out there's no air on the enemy team. If he takes advantage of that and realizes he can chuck out a bomber and start bombing their energy for free, and that can seal a game right there.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And Victor has noticed that there's an opening on this, so he was able to come up and snipe a mechs, and he got additional information as well. It seems like OTOM is gonna take a page from their first playbook and just try to put on as much pressure as possible. Victor beats solely to mid, and if he can secure this mechs, that's going to be huge, because these suicide spots on the top of DSDR, you're living off 2 mechs, and there's only 2 mechs in mid you can fight for. If one player gets one of them and denies you the other, it is an incredibly uphill battle that you do not want to be fighting. Chummers with the scout, he's just chilling. Okay, sorry, what were you gonna say, Polly?
I'm noticing Snakes and Trees is playing really defensively. It looks like Soli's sending a lot of his units back, which I think it would be really good if he would send to the front to kind of keep that pressure in the front rather than chasing some scouts. Just for future reference there.
Yeah, and Dr. Goldfish, he's made his way to the hill. He tried to build a high ground radar, but Lenore Jadam is already up here and he's building an LLT. He immediately kills the radar and he's going to take these mexes. So this could be another mexin difference, which is really, really scary. OTOM is dropping a ton of light tanks, and you're right, their ability to just trap all of Snakes and Trees on their side of the map means that they're able to push forward and just occupy more of the map. Zombie at least is relatively equal with crop rotation on top, but we'll see if that holds. And there is a massive battle on bottom between these light tanks. Pawns versus incisors. It looks like Victor did a relatively good job of keeping his, or sorry, not Pawns, Blitz, keeping his Blitz at range, but here's the big problem. We've got Shuris on the field and there are no fighters that can respond, so they're going to need to make whistlers, but making whistlers on this, it's really hard because they don't have the move speed to actually cross the map, and they can't cover enough ground, which is why we see so many light tanks. So I really feel like someone in Snakes and Trees needs to do an air transition soon, or there's going to be a lot of problems.
Even though they came out on top in that tank fight in the south, those shurikens are going to give them just a run for their money for the rest of this game until they have an answer for it. They have all that reclaimed that they can't really get to it yet. All these shurikens just locking down their armies.
Yeah, I mean,
even their commanders naked.
This one Blitz has killed like 5 light tanks now. I mean, the Shuris locked it down and the Blitz was able to do so much work. Sully recognizes that though and drops a nettle, so he's able to drive him back a bit. But if we look in the top right, this is kind of, it was a much larger income difference, but especially the energy difference is pretty concerning. 30% metal, 50% energy income difference. I feel like the initial tone that OTOM set where they're able to capture and deny these mexes really is denying Snakes and Trees the ability to just produce enough units to fight them.
Goldfish is being pretty aggressive against Lenore. He's pushed his comm back and has a sizable amount of Rocketeers pushing him. Yeah, it looks like Lenore's coming in to cut them off the retreat. This could be trouble for Dr. Goldfish.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing the best he can. He knows he needs to fight for this hill. It's such a critical part of DSDR. I feel like normally the team that wins that hill is just going to be able to win the game. So he's putting everything he can into it, and he was able to kill the LLT that was up there, and he's still pushing it, but he really kind of needs help from Zombie or from someone else. And it looks like actually On My Face recognizes that, so he's got all sorts of stuff coming to help Dr. Goldfish, and that might be what they need. If they can kick him off the hill, that's going to be super important to do. Oh, we've got some rocket wars again, and this is actually great from On My Face. He's going to bring the pawns in. Oh, they got to commit though. Oh, the pawns weren't quite able to commit, so those rocket bots are able to back off, and it looks like we've just got peace up top. Zombie and crop rotation, they've decided that war is not what they want, and so they're just sitting at like sub 300 damage. 6 minutes in, they've decided that, you know, peace is better than the alternative, and that's respectable, right?
It is a higher motive to take, especially in a game like this, just to, you know, say we're not going to fight, we're going to draw our lines here, we're going to be peaceful neighbors. Did you see this with Lenore?
Yeah.
Wow.
What does he not have E? What is he doing? Jaden, what are you doing? Oh my god. Oh my. Okay. Well. All right, Jaden.
You know, he got that LT.
He did. You're right. That comm bomb did take the LLT. So respect
Mission
to
accomplished.
him. And Dr. Goldfish is like, hey, wait, what? I killed the comm. Let me put an LLT up here and see what's going on. He might be able to take the hill now. Jadam, I think, just APM stalled there, but that was actually great play from Dr. Goldfish to recognize that. And now he's responding very, very well. Unfortunately, on bottom, Victor has decided that it's time for the whistlers, and he is whistling away. I feel like Soli has enough tanks to just push this, though, right? I mean, whistlers are so fragile that if he can get on top of them and just dodge the D-guns, he should be able to punish. But unfortunately, go ahead.
Even if he goes for those, he can run straight past those whistlers. They're not going to be able to respond to his tanks blitzing their backline. He could get some serious eco damage if he just runs past those.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think that sometimes the best thing to do when you want to fight whistlers is just not fight them at all. Jadam with the excuse that his mouse died while walking into a light laser turret. Slightly suspectable as an excuse, as these individuals are off their meds, but you know, hey, maybe it's true.
I will give him credit. He didn't tack pause.
All right, that's fair. There was no tack pause. Man, these rocket bots from Jadam are absolutely shredding On My Face's work, though, and he really needs to push into them. They're just kind of chipping away. It looks like he's going to lose the hill. And
he's about to get some shuriken back up there, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, when these Shuris come in, I think it's just over, unfortunately. We still don't have an air transition from anyone in Snakes and Trees, which is very, very difficult, to say the least. And Oh no, Aiden and Victor have both decided they're gonna fall and become meta slaves, and here it is. Whistler Janus, and Aiden is pushing this base. If he gets here and D-guns this, I'm not 100% sure how on earth Snakes and Trees is gonna be able to recover. And even though they lost Jadam's commander in middle, between the LLTs and Chummers bringing his commander, it looks like they're gonna be able to push him back, which is really concerning, but also great work by Off Topic Off Meds.
A1 time's getting in there. He might go for the trade to stop Aiden's calm.
I think he has to, right? I mean, there's no benefit. His lab's D-gunned. He might as well swap out. So he doesn't take the army, but at least he takes Aiden's commander. Now it's a 3-4 situation with Off Topic Off Meds holding 3 commanders and Snakes and Trees holding 4. Soli is going to try to drop an HLT. He has a Dragon's Maw, so that might be able to help push back these Whistlers, but Aiden's probably gonna be able to just swoop up and start killing everything in the back, correct?
Yeah, if Aiden wraps around, this is gonna be a death sentence basically for SIT. He can either pressure the rest of mid, or he can just go straight up into on my face.
I like this play.
Hopefully their team will react and work together and create some pressure somewhere else.
I like this play from Zombie, where he realizes that crop rotation called a truce, and so he has decided that he's going to pull all of his pawns down to kind of help Lenore fight mid, and this is still a really close and contested fight. I like it, and Chummers needs to take these mexes. These mexes have been uncapped for so long. He's doing so now, but I feel like if he took him sooner, it probably could have been even more beneficial. And here's what we spoke about. It looks like it's coming to pass. Aiden has destroyed A1 time, and he is swerving up. A1 time is swapping into an air lab, which I think is super important, but I don't know if there's any way Soli is going to be able to survive this kind of sandwich between Whistler Janus and Whistler Janus. And Victor, with 23 Whistlers, is going to be able to shove almost anything. Once those Whistler balls get large enough, it's almost impossible for T1 to really fight into them.
There's some push coming in from Dr. Goldfish. He's pushing back.
Chummers gonna trade. Dr. Goldfish.
Wow.
Chummers wanted the trade, and Dr. Goldfish just stared him down and said, "Come at me, son." And looks like Chummers was found wanting. Unfortunately, that's actually a great win for Snakes and Trees, and they need one. But in response, Victor says, "You take one of our commanders, I'll take one of yours." And Soli goes down on bottom to the tickles from the Whistlers.
These units are so slow that maybe On My Face can build some pork to slow them down or stop them, because Snakes and Trees has the comm advantage right now, and they're kind of stalling out top. It looks like top is transitioned to T2, which is going to be more trouble.
Yeah, crop rotation took Geo, and while there was peace, he was preparing for war. He's got that T2, and this is going to be an incredibly hard fight for Zombine. The vehicles on top already struggle with this natural chasm here, and trying to fight T1 vehicles into T2 bots on hills is something that I routinely run into in my nightmares, so I wish Zombine all the best.
Another thing you might run into your nightmares is if you zoom out and look at Topic Off Meds' labs, they have an awful lot of T2 labs building.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not incredible coordination, but that's absolutely terrifying for Snakes and Trees. And it looks like it looks like On My Face is not prepared to actually withstand this. So here comes OTOM, and they are pushing through the backline of DSDR. A1 tried to do a transition into air, but it looks like Chummer spotted it, and now there's everything that they need to stop it. These Whistlers are chipping down, so anything that's built is going to die regardless. I think this game, as much as I hate to say it, might be over.
The slow death from mid is just making its way up top.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I said that we normally don't see that many Whistlers in fives, but they made it work, and with these numbers of Whistlers, I mean, there's 37 of them with 4 Janus. It's incredibly hard to stop those. Chummers tries for a bombing run on the Geo, but loses an absolute ton of bombers. There's so many Whistlers up here. He does not get it.
Yeah, that stack was rough.
Oh, but the Sheldons have decided it's game time. They are shelling away at it. Does he have vision of this, though? Oh, no, he's shooting at radar dots. Oddly enough, this is slightly favorable for Zombie, I feel, with Wolverines. If he can land some shots, he might be able to get kills, but once the Fiends start pouring in, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. In positive news, Dr. Goldfish is pushing up and denying the mexes on Mountain. It might be too little too late.
Looks like all my face is starting to spill down into middle. I'm trying to make a push there, make something happen.
Yeah, he needs to do something, but we see Jags, we see Fiends, and this is an insurmountable lead at this point if we look in the top right. I mean, that is an income difference that they could be spamming gunslingers and they could still carry this game, it feels like. But we'll see if Snakes and Trees is going to play it out to the end or if they want to resign a little bit earlier. Chummers coming in with the bombs.
There is some nice aggression from Goldfish onto the Norris base. He's trying to deal some damage as much as he can.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the great ways to counter pressure on your team is to pressure the other team. The units that want to be on your side of the map oftentimes have to pull back to their side of the map if you have enough aggression on it. But it looks like Aiden has taken all of these bottom mexes and Victor is pushing up to take these. So there are 2 commanders left and they are holding hands and they go down together to some Jaguars. They said, we're going out, but we're going out as friends. And you know, that's respectable. You know, it was kind of a rough game for Snakes and Trees, but I think they played well. And I think they had some great decisions a little bit towards the end, but OTOM with all their knowledge and all their practice on DSDR, I think kind of came through. It looks like Aiden on that bottom position did some great scaling. He had a ton of mexes and ooh, look at this damage efficiency from the Whistle boys. Jimmy with almost 550, Aiden with 300, Victor with 222. So it was pretty good. This does put the series, it's a best of 4, it puts the series at 2-0. So unfortunately, Snakes and Trees is going to be fighting for their life in the next game. And if they aren't able to win that, they're going to be knocked out, or sorry, not going to be like knocked out, but they're going to lose that round because it's a best of 4. So any final thoughts on that game, Polygon?
You know, I was really hoping to see Snakes and Trees have some aggression with the units they chose, even though the OTOM did start shurikens and could shut down that aggression. I feel like they did come together and tried to push through top. It was just too little too late. Their teamwork and rallying together was very good. And I hope to see them push together for a victory in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great when the series can go to ties. So yeah, let's see what happens in the next game.